Hello and welcome. We start with Kenya, where for the past few weeks all has not been well between President William Ruto and his deputy, and the rift between the two is now out in the open. An impeachment motion has been launched against Kenya's Deputy President, Rigathi Gachagua. Now a move further likely to add to the already complicated political situation in the East African country. Now, Kenyan lawmakers tabled a motion to impeach Gachagua for gross violation of the Constitution. Ruto's allies have accused Gachagua of undermining government, promoting ethnically divisive politics, involvement in corruption, as well as having a role in Kenya's recent deadly anti-government protests that were triggered by the proposal of the controversial, now scrapped, tax hikes.
I will also specifically demonstrate that the person of the Deputy President has committed the offense of gross misconduct in the manner of insubordination, insubordinating the presidency and the Kenyan state. The Kenyan state is our soul, and if you insubordinate the state, you are not worth being a state officer.
The impeachment motion was supported by some 291 members of parliament, well beyond the required threshold of 117. However, President Ruto has maintained silence on the proceedings. After a 10-day tour of the United States, where he took part in the UNGA, the president has returned rather quietly, with no fanfare or no social media posts or any comments about the brewing political storm in his country. The impeachment, meanwhile, is expected to sail through both houses of parliament easily. This as opposition members have now joined hands with Ruto's party after the protests that forced the president to form a broad-based government. However, there is no date yet for when the impeachment will take place. Kenya's deputy president has refuted all the allegations against him. In recent days, he has spoken of being sidelined by his party. Tensions between Ruto and his deputy had been simmering for quite some time. The deputy president has also been absent from seeing off his boss at the airport when he travels abroad and receiving him when he returns. Now, once a very little-known politician, Gachagua climbed up the political ranks to become Kenya's second-in-command. He was chosen by Ruto in 2022 to serve as his deputy, which not many were expecting. Even before he assumed the big role, he was arrested for corruption charges, but these charges were dropped after he became the deputy president. Gachagua was a businessman who hails from the Mount Kenya region. He played a key role in gathering support for Ruto in the vote-rich region. He now warns that President Ruto will suffer a trust deficit from Kenyans if he supports the impeachment, and that his removal will stir discontent within his bastion. But reports suggest that President Ruto has a plan to avoid this. As per reports, Kenya's Interior Secretary, Kithure Kindiki, appears to be taking some of Deputy President's responsibilities. Just like Gachagua, the Interior Secretary also comes from Mount Kenya. Now, the Deputy President has also been isolated after opposition members joined Ruto's government in the aftermath of the youth-led protests. Further adding to his worries, Kenya's Police Directorate of Criminal Investigations has recommended charges against Gachagua's close allies, accusing them of planning and mobilizing the anti-tax protests. The protest that began in June turned into a massive campaign against President William Ruto. At least 50 people died in the Gen Z-led protests, and authorities were blamed for mishandling the protesters. Now, many of the young people who were at the forefront of the protests have meanwhile dismissed suggestions that Gachagua's allies were behind the rallies. They see it as an attempt to deflect attention from bad governance. And they also demand that if the deputy president is sacked, the president should leave too. Now, how will the impeachment of the deputy president impact the political situation in Kenya amid worsening economic worries?
Firstpost decodes the U.S. election. Explains how America chooses its president. Your primer on the race to the White House. Everything you need to know about how America votes and its global implications. U.S. Election Explained. Every Monday and Thursday only on Firstpost.